Hello, good morning, and welcome back. Let us continue our discussion in economic anthropology. It is the second lecture in economic anthropology. I hope you are comfortable with what we have discussed yesterday. We discussed in length about the system of exchange in primitive societies. We discussed about barter exchange. We discussed about reciprocity, redistribution, and market. We also had a lengthy discussion about the three different types of tribal market given by Karl Polanyi. Then we have also discussed about the three types of reciprocity as proposed by Marshall Chalens: balanced reciprocity, generalized reciprocity, and negative reciprocity. So now today let us continue our discussion, and we need to start from the very famous ceremonial, ritualized, integrative gift exchange, that is collaring. Collaring. And today in our lecture, let's finish this collaring. So after that, briefly let us discuss about the economic and the social way of living among the hunters and gatherers, herding and the pastoralist, shifting cultivators to some extent. Okay. Then after that, let's discuss about the scope of economic anthropology. How the economic anthropology started as the study of the economy of simple primitive societies, and from which how it got evolved into the study of business and entrepreneurship. You have business anthropology, anthropology of entrepreneurship, economic holism. So that let us discuss. Then after that, let us take that very famous, interesting, and bit a difficult topic, the formalist and the substantivist debate in economic anthropology. In fact, it is Karl Polanyi who actually gave the term substantivist or substantivism. So, what is the meaning of for this substantivism? Who are these formalists? Let us discuss in length towards the end of the lecture. So now let us discuss collaring. Earlier we have discussed that Malinowski spent a considerable time studying the culture and society of the Trobriand Islanders. Trobriand Islands. I also showed you where the Trobriand Islands are. This is just near the Papua New Guinea. So there are four important tribes who live in this region, and all the four are matrilineal tribes. Four important matrilineal tribes. They are the Papuans, the Mailu, Marsium, and four, the Pygmy of New Guinea. Pygmy of New Guinea. So all the four are matrilineal tribes. Here, predominantly they do horticulture. At the same time, it is the women who have all the power in the society. all the important officers in this culture will be occupied by the woman. Property will be inherited in the female line. It is a matrilineal society. And Malinowski managed to stay there with them for close to around 2.5 years. And in this time, right, one fine day, he found that in that island, uh, one meeting was convened, and all the important people, right, participated in that meeting. And immediately, once when that meeting is over, kids started running towards the seashore to collect two types of seashells. About these seashells, I was just thinking. Uh, the month of February, I went to my hometown. It's a coastal town in TN. Uh, me and my wife, we went there to the beach and we were just roaming there for some time. And in that process, right, my wife just started collecting some seashells there. I was just looking at those seashells and I was thinking about my childhood days, during which, right, the variety of seashells which we used to collect. Not even 1/10 of those original seashells, right, were found now. We even managed to see a number of jellyfishes floating there in the water. Hardly we could find any such thing now. So, without our knowledge, the way in which we are destroying our environment, there is one huge industrial complex next to that beach. It runs close to around 20 kilometers, huge industrial complexes. And there are few hundred in chemical industries there. And most of the industrial effluents reaches the ocean. And the way in which we destroy our environment is really very, very bad. Okay, come back. So the kids started running towards the seashore and they started collecting the seashells. And men, what they did, few started repairing the old canoes. Canoe means it's a primitive boat. Okay. And few what they did, they started felling the trees to make a new canoes. He asked Malinowski, what's going on? What's going on? Then people said, oh, sir, it is Kula. You wait and see. It's something a very big celebration. See, just like we during our childhood days, we used to wait for, we used to count the days for Diwali. Because for us in South India, we do not celebrate Dashera. So even Ganesh Chaturthi is not that big a festival. Diwali used to be a very big festival there in our place, and we used to count our days. On the run point to Diwali, when people started making sweets and a number of snacks which will be served where people will go around, will meet our friends, relatives, they gather together. Like that, right? These people here, they were waiting for the Kula season to start. So, now what exactly they were going to do? So now using these seashells collected by the kids, the women here they make two types of objects here. One is solava. Solava is a red shell necklace, a necklace made of a red shell. And Mawali. Mawali is a bracelet made out of white shells. This is a white arm bracelet. So after making that, right, there was a detailed ritual, and thus there are number of islands here. Few hundred islands scattered across few hundred miles in this ocean, mainly bordered by the Solomon Sea. There are number of islands here. Papua New Guinea, you have Solomon Islands, and these Trobriand Islands are located somewhere here. There are groups of islands here. So now every see the tribes belonging to, I told you four important tribes, right? And all the four tribes are they live scattered in this island. They all are bound by Kula relationship. Kula is a voyage. By Kula we refer to a voyage carried out by the people of the Trobriand Islands, where they carry the materials, Solava and Mawali. Hardly there is any economic significance attached with these objects, but they carry it, they exchange it among each other. While exchanging, they follow a number of rules, and this particular exchange of gifts, right, bounds the people to Kula relationship. So the saying here is, once in Kula will always be in Kula. So the presence of Kula partner for these people in distant island, right, provides them a lot of comfort. They show extraordinary hospitality if they welcome a person who is their Kula partner. They provide them with all sufficient needs. And during time of emergency, if there is a need to fight against a common enemy, all the Kula partners will join hand and they will provide support, and they will finish the task combinedly, jointly. So now what happens actually? So once when the Solava and Mawali are made, again there will be a detailed ritual, and from one island, after finishing all the rituals, they will start the boat. Ceremoniously the boat will start. But one very important thing which we need to note, though this society is a matrilineal society, here hardly women participate in this voyage, because they are going to travel few hundred miles in the primitive boat now. And it is generally, though it is a matrilineal society, it is not possible for the woman to be a part of this voyage. Sometimes they may join the voyage and they may get down in the next, they may get down in the next island and they will return back. So after a number of rituals, right, they ceremoniously start this voyage. And from one village, right, from one island, they move to another island. They keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. While moving, right, in the next island, just by looking at the boats, right, they will make themselves ready. Oh, yeah, our Kula partners are coming. We need to welcome them. We need to welcome them. From which direction they are coming? Oh, they are coming in anti-clockwise direction, right? Hey, make these things ready. We are not supposed to give Solava. We need to give Mawali. Okay, keep these things ready. When they come there, right, we need to welcome them. We need to provide them all sort of hospitality. We need to offer a feast for them. So they go to one village, one island. They exchange the gifts there. They spend some time, maybe 2 or 3 days. Then they'll move to the next island. They keep moving, 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 and they'll try to cover as many as island possible before reaching back to their original island. Sometimes they travel for months together, meeting people, meeting their Kula partners. So they are not carrying any materials of worth economic consideration, worth economic value. The shells which they are carrying, right, is hardly of any economic value or economic significance. But here, the economic significance of the gift is obscured by its social and cultural significance. Cultural significance. One have lot of pride in welcoming their Kula partner. So hosting a dinner for them, providing them hospitality, they consider it to be a very big opportunity for them. And they do it with the utmost sincerity. And there is one rule which they follow when they exchange the gifts. For example, Solava always moves in clockwise direction. And Mawali always moves in anti-clockwise direction. Suppose if there is one island, one ship, suppose if it comes in this direction, the people who are moving right, they will give them Mawali. And the people in the village, they will give them Solava in return. And if one boat or one canoe comes from this side, these people they will provide Solava to the island people, and people in the island will give them with Mawali. So they practice, there is a particular rule which determines who is going to give which gift and who is going to receive which gift. Okay. So take one small flow chart to show how the gifts move. This is a clockwise direction, correct? Solava moves in this direction. And Mawali moves in anti-clockwise direction. So now there are two types of partners. One who receives Solava and one who gives and one who receives Solava and gives Mawali, and another one who receives Mawali and gives Solava. Okay. So let's take down this thing. So the major rule here is once in Kula will always be in Kula. This Kula voyage unites or it bounds the people. And once when they enter into this Kula relationship, they are tied together. See, the Kula has nothing to do with the clan or lineage. Do not confuse this. Okay, Kula is a technical term here given to the voyage which the people take and the principle behind the unification of people in these island groups. Okay, so this is Kula ring. Kula ring. I hope you are comfortable with the Kula ring. And see, there are a number of detailed magical and religious activities associated with the Kula voyage. Even before starting the Kula voyage, there will be a detailed ceremony, a detailed ritual, and a number of magical practices. And everyone, each and everyone cannot think about participating in the Kula voyage. Only people who are considered to have a lot of magical knowledge, a lot of who is considered to be more powerful, right? They can only be a part of this Kula voyage. And as I told you, generally, I think generally women will not participate because as this voyage involves a travel for a few hundred miles, it is not always affordable, it is not always possible for women to take this voyage. So though they are matrilineal, it is the men who take this voyage. Women may participate, but they may not. We may not expect them to be there in the full voyage during the full journey of Kula. Fine then. So then now let us discuss about a few production and other related activities among the primitive people who live by different way. So first let us discuss about the hunters and gatherers. The hunters and the gatherers. We discussed in length about them. See, among them, right, they live by very primitive technology, and their society is an egalitarian society. That is, everyone is simple. They live in small group, which we call it as bands. Uh, as their economic activity hardly permits them to live in large group. That's why they roam here and there in a small group. So whatever they produce, they consume it immediately. We call these economies as production consumption economies. So whatever they produce, they consume it immediately. They cannot store it for a long time. That's why they cannot accumulate a lot of wealth. So they cannot accumulate a lot of wealth. And Binford, they have classified the hunters and gatherers into foragers and collectors. So the very important prerequisite for a society to exist in this condition is the availability of large stretch of land over which these people can roam around freely. But what happened with the explosion of population and with independence and in the name of conserving but there was a need to conserve our ecosystem. We are left with no other choice because if you allow our fast, rapid growing population to roam around freely, they will destroy each and every single forest in the name of putting them into cultivation. And by this time, our country might have become a big desert. Somehow we have taken a decision at correct time so that at least in few remote corners right here or there we managed to conserve the environment in its original form. So but it doesn't compulsion. We are left with no other option because human beings are a rational animal who always tend to optimize their profit. In the name of optimizing the profit, right? They do not bother much about the environment. So what happened actually in the name of conservation? We have brought large stretch of forest land under the protected environment, and we have made detailed laws, and we have curtailed the trespassing of this area, and even hunting of a number of animals right became was outlawed. As a result, right, these people they lost their scope of living with the rapid urbanization, with rapid enlargement of human settlements. The free area over which these people could roam, right, became minimum. And even the animals, most of the animals were hunted to extinction, and most of the animals, right, they retreated into remote jungles. And this made this way of living almost impossible. Almost impossible. That's why, apart from few remote corners of our country, hardly we can see people who still live by hunting and gathering. But through my own eyes, right, I have seen these people roaming across uh, during my childhood days. In our place, Korvas, they are hunters and gatherers. They used to roam. Even they used to have a licensed gun with them. And I have seen many times how these people used to trap the birds by setting a trap. They'll keep some food, they'll set a trap, and they used to capture a few birds. Most of the time, the pond herons. Sometimes few storks will also fall in their net. Okay, but in the last 20 years or so, hardly I have seen any such people roaming anywhere in the country because there is no scope left for them. Police and forest department will make their life very horrible. Even if they hunt a small bird, right, which is not a protected species, still police will go and catch them. Who gave you permission to hunt this? Their life became very pathetic, and nobody took a note about what exactly happened to the people, and they lost their livelihood. And most of the women, right, women and men, they took some very low-grade professions like being a watchman, and they got marginalized, and they almost disappeared, and most of the people lost their tribal identity. But good, at least Andaman and Nicobar is a protected islands, right? We still have the Jaravas surviving there. The Sentinel is surviving there. Sentinels still they live by hunting and gathering. They are the only living Paleolithic people in the world. We'll discuss about Sentinelese later. Sentinelese of Andaman and Nicobar group of islands. So the next group of people, herding and pastoralism. And with this, right, we always add one adjunct to this, as prefix or suffix. Nomadism. So pastoralism, right, as an economic activity is common in semi-arid regions. Herding and pastoralism is nothing but cattle rearing. generally in large numbers. This is called as pastoralism. And nomadism is an ecological compulsion. I will tell you why nomadism is an ecological compulsion here. And why in semi-arid regions. So where do we have a semi-arid regions in our country? There are two large stretches of a semi-arid region apart from a number of or thousands of scattered semi-arid tracts here and there. Semi-arid tracts here and there. Let us stop here with this. So here we have the hot Thar desert. Gujarat, Rajasthan, parts of Haryana and Punjab. So the area adjoining these deserts, right? There is one stretch which is semi-arid. These are completely arid. It means rainfall here will be less than 20 centimeters in a year. And with that rainfall, right, even grasses won't grow there. But here in this region, we can expect a rainfall of somewhere around 40 to 60 centimeters per year. And this rainfall is not sufficient here for the people to do agriculture. We cannot do agriculture with these small available water. So with this water, right, this year, and there is one more semi-arid region which lies to the eastern side of the Western Ghats, which is found in the regions of Maharashtra, parts of Telangana, Karnataka and TM. This is again a semi-arid tract. Two prominent semi-arid regions dominated by thorn forest. Thorn forest. So in this area, people cannot do agriculture. With the small available moisture here, with the minimum rainfall, grasses can survive. So in this environment, right, cattle rearing or pastoralism is a very important economic activity. And why nomadism? Why these people cannot stay in a place and do this pastoralism? See, they'll be having 100 or 200 cattle. And if they stay here, right, in this region, within a matter of 15 days, the cattle will finish all the grasses. So, they are forced to move from here to here, here to here. They keep moving, they keep moving. And when they keep moving, right, they follow a predetermined track. And they generally move in a circular manner. For example, the Bedouins of Saudi Arabia. They are a very good living example of a nomadic pastoralist. These people, right, they have, they live in a group of 200 to 300. And they may manage close to around 1,000 animals, of which part will be camels, few horses, cow, sheep, goat, etc. And they move in a group. These people, right, they follow a circular path. They'll start from one place, move to one place, stay here, move, 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 and they'll come back. And they generally, right, they follow a traditionally known path. They will not move here and there. And even while moving, right, see, during autumn, in the month of July, August, September, until October, right, they'll move leisurely. They'll move leisurely. because soon winter is going to set. When winter sets in, dew will provide a maximum moisture for the grasses to grow. So in winter, right, they will halt in a place in winter. Then once when winter gets over, they will start moving at a rapid speed, mainly during the spring season. During spring, they'll move at a rapid speed because they know soon summer is going to set. And before the summer sets, they need to find a very good waterfall where they can survive the full summer. And again, they keep following the traditional route. And one important thing about these people is they used to do trade with the animals which they grow. They sell the meat of the animal. They even collect fur from these animals and they used to sell that. And these people, not just them, even the hunters and gatherers in some way or other, they have a contact or communication with the people of the outside world. They have contact with the people of the outside world. Fighting will be very, very common. Fighting among the groups, not within the groups, between different groups. Because now people carry a movable property. One group can manage to outpower the other group and they can take possession of their cattle and they can run away and they can vanish. They cannot chase them back and go and find where they are because it's a hot desert. So fighting is very common. Fighting is very common among the people who live by herding and pastoralism. But not every single tribe who practice pastoralism are nomads. For example, the Todas and Kotas of Nilgiris. Nilgiris. Kuti. The Todas are they're also cattle herders. They maintain a large number of buffaloes. But these people they are not nomadic. Largely because they live in a very high rainfall zone. Rainfall here in this region, right, is cool and comfortable. It is more than 250 centimeters per year. In this very high rainfall, right, they can find a lush growth of vegetation, and there is no shortage of water here. So they are, though they are cattle herders, they mainly have a settled way of living. Settled way of living. Okay, fine. Herding and pastoralism. So there are some type of pastorals or some type of herders who make a two-way movement. We call this as transhumans. The very good example for this is the Bakarwals, who live in the Pir Panjal range of the Himalayas. They do not venture into the Kashmir Valley generally. They confine themselves to the southern portion of the Pir Panjal range. We know that Kashmir is a valley, it's a V-shaped valley located between Zaskar range and the Pir Panjal range. Zaskar range. The southern one is Pir Panjal. This is the Kashmir Valley, and Jhelum River meanders in the Kashmir Valley. It makes a deep gorge and enters into Pakistan. The proper way of entry into Kashmir Valley is through the Jhelum Gorge only. But many a time, even our Mughal rulers like Jahangir, right? He was over obsessed with the Kashmir Valley. Many times, right, unsuccessfully, he tried to invade Kashmir Valley through the Pir Panjal range. He had constructed a number of sarais, well, going from this side this way to this way into the Kashmir Valley. So these people, right, they generally oscillate between the plains here and the mountains here. The plains and the Pir Panjal mountains. What they do, during winter, they stay here in the plains. Because during winter, the Pir Panjal range will be covered by snow. So they cannot think about grazing or taking their animals for grazing there. So during winter, they stay here. And when summer sets, and during summer, what happens when the snow here melts, they take their cattle and they go there. The snow melts, right? During summer, they go there. So they will leave their cattle here. And again, now with the onset of winter, they will come back to the plains. This two-way migration between the plains and the upper reach of Himalayas. Go up, come down, go up, come down. This two-way movement, right, is called as transhumance. Transhumance. Even though they are not strictly cattle herders, though they live by hunting and gathering, even the Eskimos of Alaska, they also practice transhumance. The Eskimo of Alaska. So what they do, Alaska, Aleutian Islands. So during summer, these people migrate to the south. And during winter, they move towards the north. The reindeer in this region, the large animals which they hunt, right, they move in the rivers. So this side, right, they move during summer, they move to the south, and during winter, they move to the north. Because summer or winter here, the temperature will be so cold. The main problem is during winter is to protect themselves against the cold wind. The cold wind called as a blizzard. So blizzard is a cold, snow-laden wind. It carries snow. It moves at a very high velocity. There is a need to protect themselves against the cold wind, which is a very big threat for the people during the winter season. To protect them against this cold wind, they need to construct one igloo. Igloo, these are ice house. These are house made out of ice. Thing is that only thing we need to remember here, if you construct a igloo here and one igloo here, the life of this igloo, right, in the north, it may, the life here may be 6 months and here it may be 3 months. Because here the temperature will be very cold and the igloo can stay. Here, right, it may melt soon. That's why to protect themselves against the cold. So that cold wind will be there throughout the place. They need to protect themselves against the cold wind. So they cannot construct a igloo here because it will melt fast. So they will move further north, they will construct the igloo and they'll stay there. And once when summer sets in, once when the igloo slowly starts melting, they'll abandon it and they'll move towards the south. And when they move towards the south, right, the reindeer by that time, from here, it will start moving towards the north. They can see a huge flocks of the reindeer coming in the opposite direction. They can hunt and they can have a good meal once when the summer sets in. But life during winter will really be pathetic. Will really be pathetic. Okay, there'll be continuous darkness, there'll be food shortage, and they indulge in a special type of hunting called as mapok hunting. Mapok hunting. So mapok hunting means he waits and hunts. The meaning is sometimes right they may spot a seal. The seal, what they will do after spotting a human being, so once inside human being, immediately they will run into the snow. So this is the snow cover, this is the land. They'll move inside the snow and they'll hide themselves here. Once when a seal goes into the ice, right, these people what they will do, they will take the spear and they'll go and wait there. They wait for some time because once when a seal goes inside, right, it need to breathe. And once when it breathes, right, the snow here alone will melt and snow soon a breathing hole will appear. So they will wait for this breathing hole. Once when it enter the snow, with the spear they will wait where the breathing hole is going to come. In a matter of 10 minutes, right, they can spot a breathing hole. They can insert the raw or they can use the raw spear to or the raw spear to kill the seal. They can take it and they can eat it. So this type of waiting and hunting, right, we call it as a mapok hunting, but still food shortage is a very big issue during the winter time when they settle inside the igloo. Okay, fine. So even this two-way of movement, right, this is also called as a transhumans. Transhumans means a two-way movement of people. One good example is the Bakarwals who migrate. You can also take one small diagram. This is about these pictorial diagrams, right? Will give an easy understanding and we can trace it easily. So the Bakarwals of Kashmir, of Jammu. They migrate between. This is Pir Panjal range. These are the plains. So sorry, during summer they will stay here. And during winter they will stay in the plains. And they make a two-way movement up and down. This is again called as transhumans. Transhumans. Okay, fine. So next is the shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation. So here there is a large stretch of forest, and what the people will do, they'll go and clear a small area. They'll clear the bushes, they'll cut the trees, they will uproot the trees, they'll clear the bushes. And in the small, it may be less than 2 or 3 acres. Less than 2 or 3 acres. They will raise a crop there, maybe for 2 or 3 years. Sometimes they do it periodically, every year they do it. Okay. So once when the season is over, when they feel that this particular land had lost its fertility. They will move to the nearby area and they will uh, clear and switch a forest here and they'll raise a crop. Again, they will abandon it and they'll keep moving. They'll keep moving. I will show you a picture of through aircraft, right? If you go to any northeastern states, be it Impal, be it Kohima. So while once when your flight descends down, right, you can see a number of small circular patches. These are nothing but the remains of a shifting cultivation. Remains of shifting cultivation. So there are a number of government and NGOs who are acting, who are making the people to realize the importance of environment and how to do settled agriculture. And most of the people now they have stopped doing shifting cultivation, and we managed to control these up to some 70 percentage. But still, there are a few people few groups who are indulging in now shifting cultivation, largely because there are number of lifetime rituals, number of festivals which revolves around this way of living. This has become their way of living, their way of living. And suddenly they cannot change their way of living. For example, I have given you one example, the Garo and the Bangala festival. You know where is Garo, right? Garo, Kasi, Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya. This is Bangladesh. And in Assam plains, we have the Meghalaya plateau, where we have three hills, Kasi, Garo, Kasi, and Jaintia. So Kasi is a dominant tribe in this region. Even Garo is also a very prominent tribe who live in Meghalaya. Who live in Meghalaya. What a beautiful place that is Meghalaya. Meghalaya. Okay. So what they do, these people they also practice shifting cultivation, and they have a number of detailed ritual regarding the shifting cultivation. When exactly they need to go and clear the forest, and once when they clear the forest, they will be burning the stubbles, and once when they burn the stubbles, right, very next day they need to assemble there. There will be a detailed rituals. There will be a small festival, and they will start sowing the crop. And once when the crop comes to harvest, right, while harvesting, they celebrate the festival called as Vangala. So Vangala is a harvest festival. If you ask them to stop doing shifting cultivation, then they will say, then how we will celebrate Vangala? Without Vangala, how we can live? If somebody asks us, you should not celebrate Diwali, you should not celebrate Christmas, will you do it? We call ourselves as more civilized, right? For the sake of environment, if somebody asks us not to burn the effigy of Ravana, and somebody asks you not to burst crackers in the name of celebrating Diwali, will you do it? You won't do it. What right we have over these people to ask them, do not do shifting cultivation, do not do Vangala. But still what they do is something which really hurts our environment. So slowly we need to make them understand the evil aspects of shifting cultivation, and we need to bring it down. And there are a number of ways. If you ask anthropologists, right, there is always a way to deal with these people. We can make them to celebrate Vangala in a different way. And it is the improper understanding about the tribal way of living, right, which creates more problems during rehabilitation and resettlement. If you understand their way of living, then it will be easy for us to relocate them or to even change their practices, change their very harmful cultural practices. It is not that every single thing which the tribes do will be good. Sometimes, right, they practice female infanticide. Sometimes they practice human sacrifice. Can we accept that? We cannot accept that, right? A civilized society cannot just have a look at these tribal people indulging in human sacrifice. You need to put an end to that immediately. Like that, even this is one very important activity which actually hurts our environment, and we need to do something to make these people to refrain from this activity. And there is no sudden solution. Say outrightly, right? We cannot go and outlaw this, and we cannot prevent these people from doing that. That will create too many repercussions. So we need to make them understand about the evil aspects of shifting cultivation. And throughout the country, we are practicing shift, not just in Northeast. Even in Jharkhand, even in Orissa, even in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and even in Andhra Pradesh, people indulge in shifting cultivation. That's why I've given you a different name. In Andhra, it is called as Podu. Okay, it is even in Kerala. In Kerala, they call it as Kumari. Okay, in Odisha they call it as Davi. There are a number of names given for, say, in a different area, they name this shifting cultivation in a different way. So this is practiced throughout the country. To some extent, right, we had a control over this in Kerala, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, but still in the northeast, this particular situation is still continuing. Still continuing, shifting cultivation. Okay, fine then. So now the next topic. Now let us discuss about the scope of economic anthropology. Scope of economic anthropology. So initially, right, economic anthropology started as a subject studying primitive and indigenous economic system. But slowly, right, it had expanded its scope and it had incorporated the other aspects of economic system also into its studies. So, for example, right, initially when we started discussing about anthropology, started focusing only on the economy of subsistence systems. Later, slowly, Taylor and Morgan, they showed some interest in economic history. That is how various aspects of the economic system evolved over time. How various aspects kept changing, how it kept evolving over time. So how barter system of exchange was replaced by redistribution. How this redistribution was replaced by a market system. So they kept studying the economic history. Then Malinowski, Raymond Firth, Paul Bohannon, they all contributed immensely in the field of primitive economies. Most importantly, Malinowski. Then Raymond Firth. Though he was a formalist, still he had a lot of contributions in the field of economic anthropology. Then we had the very famous Paul Bohannon. So they all played a major role in studying the economy of primitive systems. Then we have peasant economies. So slowly, right after the Second World War, what happened? Anthropology started showing interest in studying villages. Village study, right? Study of villages, study of rural system became fashionable after the Second World War. Here, right now, there are many anthropologists who did a lot of study among the peasant societies, among the peasant economies. Most importantly, Robert Redfield, Makim Marriott, Milton Singer, they did a lot of work here. Then came the system of urban economies. Most importantly, study by Oscar Lewis. We will discuss in length about the contribution of Oscar Lewis. We'll keep discussing many things about Oscar Lewis. Do not worry. Okay. So Oscar Lewis, right? He studied the squatter settlement or the poor who live in the slums of Mexico. The poor in the Mexican slums. So what is their condition of living? How pathetic their condition was, etc. Then comes a business anthropology. Then finally, one very important thing, not finally actually, this was always a part of economic anthropology, the so-called economic holism. Economic holism. This developed as the subject developed, right? This particular aspect also developed in economic anthropology, that is economic holism. So in economic holism, right, I'll tell you, this links the economic activity with the social life. So how the various economic activities are intertwined with the social activity, the social life. So how social life is related to the economic activity. So comparing and studying these two, right, this is called as economic holism. So many anthropologists did write a similar work. For example, Ivan Pichard. He studied the economic and social life of Nuer of Sudan. He found how the social life of the Nuer is associated with their economic life, how both are interlinked. Similarly, same is the case with Malinowski. Malinowski. He studied how the magic and religious life of Trobriand Islanders. How it is mixed with or how it is interlinked with their social life. This is called as economic holism. This is called as economic holism. And finally, now we have the anthropology of economic development. Anthropology of economic development. We have development economics, we have welfare economics. Even anthropology also now includes the study of economic development. See, scope. Scope means what are all the aspects which the subject covers. The scope of economic anthropology, right, which just started, it had a modest beginning with the study of subsistence economies of the primitive and the indigenous system. And slowly it had grown to an extent that it now incorporates, it now includes the study of business economics, the study of anthropology of entrepreneurship. We have economic holism, then anthropology of economic development. Economic development. So this is sufficient about the scope of economic anthropology. Scope of economic anthropology.